Sadiq Khan is not being judged on his manifesto, but rather on his widespread record in his last 8 years as mayor, said Centre for London's Antonia Jennings. Sadiq Khan's lead over Tory challenger Susan Hall is down to just 10 points, just one day before the London mayoral election, a new poll has indicated. And Antonia Jennings, chief executive at Centre for London, said the incumbent's hopes of a landslide are receding fast, with the research offering hard evidence of Londoners' disappointment with Khan's record. The survey, carried out by Savanton on behalf of the Centre, puts Labour Mayor Mr Khan's lead at 42%, with Ms Hall on 32%, meaning his lead has dropped 3 points in a week. Liberal Democrat Rob BIackie is on 10%, Green Party candidate Zoe Garbett on 8% and Reform UK's candidate, Howard Cox on 3%. Significantly, 1 in 6 voters, 17%, say they are likely to change their minds before tomorrow, including 27% of those planning to back Mr BIackie. Meanwhile 1 in 5, 18%, of Londoners either do not know or do not believe there is an election, with 22% saying they do not need voter ID rising to 31% for younger people. Londoners are fairly evenly split on Mr Khan's time as London mayor, with 35% saying they are satisfied with his performance, 40% dissatisfied, and 4% undecided. Mr Khan's current lead is a significant underperformance against Labour's 53%, dominance in the capital over the Conservatives, on 23%, in terms of Westminster voting intention. Ms Jennings said, "As we inch ever closer to polling day, we are seeing the race tighten between Sadiq Khan and Susan Hall. It doesn't look like the incumbent Labour mayor will sweep away the competition with the lead initially expected." As the polls narrowed, it indicated the challenges Mr Khan would face if elected, Ms Jennings continued. She said, Susan Hall's ability to poll higher than her own party in Westminster indicates Londoners' disappointment with Khan's record to date. Running for an unprecedented third term, he is likely to be judged not on his manifesto like Hall, but on his widespread record in his last 8 years as mayor. Nevertheless, any discussion of Mr Khan's record needed to factor in how centralised power was in the UK, Ms Jennings emphasised. She said, compared with other capital cities, London's devolution deal is measly. Fiscal powers, the ability to raise taxes, are particularly lacking, meaning London's mayor remains heavily constrained by national government budgets. With each new poll, we have seen Londoners spotlight the same issues time and again: housing, the cost of living and crime. To enable our next mayor to properly tackle the problems facing London, we need devolution, to bring policy making closer to the people it affects. Chris Hopkins, political research director at Savanton, said, "Our final poll before Londoners choose their next mayor suggests that the race has tightened in the last few days before polling day. Of course there remains a high level of uncertainty around this election, with changes to the electoral system and voter ID laws making cast-iron predictions challenging, but the findings still suggest a closer race than many are bargaining for. While we still predict a broadly comfortable victory for Khan over Hall, our research has consistently suggested that the current mayor has serious challenges as a candidate. Londoners seem divided on his time in office so far, and a different, more popular opponent could have made a difference." Savanton interviewed 1,532 Londoners aged 18+ online between 26 to 30 April 2024.